Your YouTube, it's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we got some interesting, unfortunate news. As 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer, who's currently the unified super middleweight WBC, WBA, WBO, Ring Magazine world champion, Saul Canelo Alvarez, 56 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 38 big wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was Cinco de Mayo weekend when he took on former undefeated 2-division world champion who was the WBO super middleweight British superstar world champion boxer Billy Joe Saunders. He got a knockout victory. With that said, Canelo Alvarez, he was in talks, in negotiations to face off in a massive mega undisputed showdown, historic at super middleweight against undefeated IBF super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Caleb Sweethand Plant. Caleb Plant holds the IBF belt. Caleb Plant, 21 wins, no losses, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. Caleb Plant is 29 years of age, stands at 6'1" with a 74-inch arm reach. They were in talks to have a September 18th showdown, Mexican Independence Day weekend, for Undisputed. That would have been historic. Why is it historic? Because there's never been an undisputed super middleweight world champion. And then on Canelo Alvarez's part, it would be historic in 2 separate ways, because he would become the first Mexican-born fighter to hold all 4 major sanction bodies in any weight class. So it would have been historic on both ends, but unfortunately, according to reports today, it has officially been, it's dead in the water. Officially, it's over now. Okay, and now it's being reported that Canelo Alvarez has turned his sights back to the light heavyweight division, where he took on and defeated former 3-time light heavyweight world champion superstar boxer Sergey Crusher Kovalev for his WBO title at light heavyweight. His only campaign there. Well, now it's being reported that Canelo Alvarez has now turned his sights to undefeated WBA light heavyweight world champion superstar Ukrainian boxer in Dmitry Bivol. 18 wins, no losses, no draws, 11 wins by way of knockout. He's 30 years of age, stands at 6 feet tall with a 72-inch arm reach. So he's actually an inch shorter than Caleb Plant, and has a 2-inch arm reach disadvantage to Caleb Plant. So Dmitry Bivol was in action in May as well of this year when he took on Craig Richardson, and he got a unanimous decision victory, but it wasn't the most impressive. Canelo Alvarez, he's seeking out legacy. He's seeking out to do historic numbers and do historic events, okay, for his legacy moving forward. And he wants that Caleb Plant fight, but now negotiations have completely, officially been canceled, and now it's being reported that Canelo Alvarez is finalizing or looking to finalize a deal to fight Dmitry Bivol September 18th. Canelo Alvarez, he wants that Mexican Independence Day weekend date. Okay, that's the 2 holidays in which he fights on: Cinco de Mayo weekend in May, and Mexican Independence Day weekend in September. Those are his 2 major dates that he loves to compete on. And then every now and then you'll get Canelo compete in December and in February. You know, around those 4 months. Okay, so he doesn't want to let this date slip away. He knows that at this point in time, Dmitry Bivol is going to recognize and realize he's the clear B-side. He's not going to put up much of a issue as far as negotiations goes. Dmitry Bivol, he fights on DAZN. He's with Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, he confirmed that Dmitry Bivol is in the lead for the Canelo Alvarez fight. Canelo Alvarez has a partnership with Eddie Hearn, co-promotion. He had his last 3 fights. His fight with his fight with Avni Yildirim. No, actually his last 4 fights, right? Caleb Smith in December. Then in February, he fought Avni Yildirim. Then he fought Billy Joe Saunders in May. And now he's possibly going to have, so it's his last 3 fights, have been on DAZN with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, okay? Because his previously fights were on DAZN, but that was with a different promotional company. That was with legendary Hall of Fame former Olympic gold medalist turned promoter of Golden Boy Promotions CEO Oscar De La Hoya. He's no longer with Oscar De La Hoya. but he's done his last 3 fights on the zone with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. So this is an easy fix. Eddie Hearn says that time is ticking for that September 18th date, and it looked like he could possibly have to move off the date if he don't get a deal done with somebody right now, essentially, right? Because Sunday is August 1st. So that means he would have about 7 weeks, from Sunday. He's going to have 7 weeks from Sunday to prepare for a fight. Now that gives Dmitry Bivol, if they get a deal done this week, that gives Dmitry Bivol 7 weeks to prepare. Dmitry Bivol is not a guy who's not in shape. He seems to be in shape year round. He seems to be, focused and dedicated to the sport of boxing. So I don't think that Dmitry Bivol has to get in shape. He fights at light heavyweight. Canelo Alvarez, he will have to prepare himself to go to light heavyweight, but 7 pounds north. So it's not like he have to lose weight or have to make weight. So he's not going to have to worry about losing weight or, cutting weight and things of that nature because he's going north, okay? This is a very winnable fight for Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion. There's talks of him wanting to fight Artur Beterbiev as well. Artur Beterbiev, he holds the IBF and the WBC at light heavyweight. He's also undefeated. He's a major player there. And the WBO is a vacant belt that I believe we're going to see fighters fight for the vacant belt. Marcus Brown was rumored to possibly fight for the vacant belt. So I don't know what's going to go on with the WBO title at light heavyweight. But Canelo Alvarez has been on the verge of securing undisputed multiple times in multiple different divisions and can't get a deal done. There's no way he shouldn't find a way to get a deal done with Caleb Plant. Canelo Alvarez, he stated that he wanted to be the first Mexican-born fighter to become undisputed at middleweight, and he had the opportunity after he beat Triple G. He had all 3 belts and the Ring Magazine belt. There was 1 fight away. All he had to do was fight now reigning WBO champion, 2-division world champion, undefeated, Demetrius Boo Andrade, and it would have been, should he be victorious, he would have been undisputed at middleweight. He opted not to do that as well. Then he had his WBC mandatory challenger in Jamal Charlo, another undefeated fighter, 2-division world champion, who was his mandatory. He opted to be franchise champion. So those are 2 major fights he left on the table at middleweight, at 160. He definitely could have fought against Demetrius Andrade for undisputed. So he had the opportunity to become undisputed 1 fight away, and he opted not to take the fight. Then, now he moved to 168. Okay, and he has the opportunity to fight Caleb Plant and become undisputed. And according to Caleb Plant, that everything is, they're conceding everything to Canelo Alvarez except for a few little things that Canelo Alvarez is just, according to Caleb Plant, being ridiculous with. And Canelo Alvarez not willing to sign a multi-fight deal, so it's not getting done. And then you look at when he fought and beat Sergey Kovalev. You had Artur Beterbiev, who was campaigning for a fight, and Dmitry Bivol, who would have loved to have a fight with Canelo Alvarez. That's 2 fights after he beat Sergey Kovalev he could have had at light heavyweight to become undisputed. So in 3 different weight classes, he's only 1 or 2 fights away from becoming undisputed. And him being a cash cow, him being the quote-unquote one of the faces of the sport of boxing, top 3 faces of the sport of boxing, it's easy for him to make. After he beat Sergey Kovalev, if he would have fought and beat Dmitry Bivol, he would be a 3-belt holder and a Ring Magazine holder and only need to fight, Artur Beterbiev, and would have only need to fight Dmitry Bivol. Easy fight to make, right? Then the Caleb Plant situation, 1 fight away. He's not finding a way to get it done. 3 separate weight classes. 160, he was 1 fight away. 168, he's 1 fight away. And 175, he was 2 fights away. Where he could have made these fights happen and would have been historic. He actually could have been undisputed in 3 weight classes. If he would have fought Demetrius Andrade and beat Demetrius Andrade at that time after he beat Triple G for the 2nd time and became a unified middleweight world champion, okay? He could have been undisputed. He beat Demetrius Andrade at that point in time. He would have been undisputed at middleweight. Then he could have vacated the belts, moved up to 168, as he did anyway. He vacated the belts anyway. He could have moved up to 168 and challenged for the undisputed title at 168. He beat Triple G in 2018 for the WBC, WBA, and IBF. Okay? And the IBO. Okay? So he was only one fight removed from being undisputed. He opted to go to 168 instead of fighting Demetrius Andrade. He opted to go to 168, fight Rocky Fielding for a vacant WBA regular title at 168. Then he fought Danny Jacobs at 160. Right? So when he fought Danny Jacobs at 160 in 2019, May of 2019, he held all three major sanction bodies and the Ring magazine. He then could have fought Demetrius Andrade and become undisputed in 2019. Nope, he opted to jump over 68 now, not fight Demetrius Andrade, and go fight Sergey Kovalev at 175. Then, instead of him staying there and collecting the belts, he came back down to 68 to fight Caleb Smith, Avenue Yildirim, and Billy Joe Saunders. So he's been in position to fight for undisputed in 3 separate weight classes, and he's opted not to find a way to get a deal done. So it's his the diva mentality of Canelo Alvarez. He wants every demand possible. He wants every advantage possible, and he's just not finding a way to get a deal done, unfortunately. But here we have him and Dmitry Bivol. I highly expect him to beat Dmitry Bivol. I did not like how Dmitry Bivol looked against his last opponent. I think he's vulnerable. I think he plays in the hands of Canelo Alvarez, and I think Canelo Alvarez wins that fight. But is Canelo Alvarez is it all for nothing? Is he going to look to come back to the negotiation table with Caleb Plant? Or is he going to look to collect the belts at 175 against Artur Beterbiev and then look to fight for the WBO title? Let's see how this unfolds and plays out. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like your shady videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
This is Amanda, the real deal Serrano, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.